This is the story the TLC cameras didn't dare to film, or perhaps were ordered to ignore. A scandal involving federal crimes, a $250,000 government payout, and a betrayal so shocking it could send members of the Roloff inner circle straight to prison. Picture this. A routine trip to a simple post office box spirals into a felony-level investigation. We're hearing whispers of a massive legal war involving the U.S. Department of Agriculture, a forged signature, and a hidden bank account that was never meant to see the light of day. And if these allegations prove true, then this isn't a story about family drama anymore. This becomes a case involving the FBI, the U.S. Treasury Department, and a courtroom showdown where Amy Roloff herself ends up holding the smoking gun. This is the scandal that could rewrite everything we thought we knew about Roloff Farms. But before we dig into the evidence, the explosive testimony, and the buried secrets shaking the Roloff world to its core, make sure to hit like, subscribe, and turn on notifications. Because here at Motion 24, we don't look away. We uncover the stories the mainstream media refuses to touch. And this developing saga. Let's set the scene for what insiders are calling the most financially devastating event in the history of Roloff Farms. To understand the gravity of this situation, we have to look at the financial climate of the agricultural world. According to sources familiar with federal farming grants, long-operating agricultural businesses like Roloff Farms were recently eligible for a one-time federal subsidy. This was part of a massive government initiative to support historic farms that weathered specific economic downturns. We are talking about the Agricultural Resilience Grant, a program designed to inject liquidity into family farms. The payoff was big since Roloff Farms was big and had been in business for a long time. We found out that the farm's qualifying amount was exactly $250,000. But there was one thing that started this whole calamity. The years that counted for this award were exactly when Matt and Amy were still married and owned the property together. This is where the federal government doesn't match up with the realities of a nasty divorce. The United States Department of Agriculture did not send the money to Matt Roloff alone because the grant was based on earlier tax returns and documents of joint ownership. They didn't provide it to the new LLC. Following rigorous federal rules, the Treasury Department wrote a check to Matthew and Amy Roloff. 2 owners, 2 names, and 2 signatures are needed. It was sent directly to the farm's main P.O. box, which it had used for decades. This piece of paper was worth $250,000. Now, let's talk about the notion that everyone is talking about. According to exclusive narrative reconstructions, Matt and Caryn Chandler, his long-term girlfriend and farm manager, were in charge of the daily mail and logistics during the off-season. The check comes. It is in a brown envelope from the government with the USDA's address clearly written on it. There is a lifeline inside worth $250,000. This money is like gold for Matt, who is always looking to grow, construct, and fix things. But Amy is a huge problem that stands in the way of him getting that money. If Matt wanted to do things the right way, he would have to call Amy, set up a meeting, give her the check, have her sign it, and then they would probably have to split the money 50-50. That means paying Amy $125,000. It was said that it was too much for a man who has fought tooth and nail for every acre of that land to give his ex-wife a check for 6 figures just because her name is on a piece of paper. This is when Caryn comes into the picture. The idea says that Caryn, as the faithful partner and business manager, made a choice that went from being a questionable business practice to being federal fraud. The story says that Caryn intercepted the check instead of telling Amy. It is said that she grabbed the envelope out of the P.O. box and brought it back to the workplace, where no one could see it. It was too tempting. They made themselves believe that this was money from the property. They convinced themselves that Amy didn't perform the effort to get this grant. She was only a name on a deed, a ghost from the farm's past. They made excuses for the theft. But a reason doesn't make a check work. You need 2 endorsements to cash a 2-party government check. This is the part of the story that gets dark. People say that Caryn used a pen to sign Amy Roloff's name on the back of that treasury check. It was a bad attempt, just a hasty scribbling meant to be seen quickly, but it was still a fake. But they couldn't just put this in the main farm account, where Amy's lawyers could examine the transaction history during an audit. They needed a different spot to hide the cash. Reports say that Caryn and Matt walked to a nearby bank branch, where they were well known and treated like local celebrities. They opened a new business account, which is a secret place to keep all of this money. They went to the teller, handed them the $250,000 check, and put it in their account. The teller, or maybe the manager, didn't ask the tough questions because they saw the renowned people in the signed check. They didn't question why Amy wasn't there. They took care of the deal. The money went into the account. And just like that, the crime was done. That's what they thought. The secret was kept for months. The money was probably relocated, used on projects, or put into other assets. Matt and Caryn went about their life, taping the program, going to Arizona, and thinking they had made the best money move ever. They didn't give enough credit to the farming community in the little town or Amy Roloff's network. Oregon's farming world is small. Everyone knows each other. People chat about the weather, crops, and government help. At first, the unraveling was innocent enough. Amy was said to be having lunch with a close friend who also owns a big nursery in the region. The friend brought up the grant while they were drinking iced tea and talking about the kids. She asked Amy what she was going to do with her part of the USDA resiliency money. She talked about how useful the check had been for her family. Amy, who was bewildered, is said to have put down her drink and questioned, "What check?" The acquaintance told the person about the program. She said that every qualifying year, every farm of a specific size got a packet and a payment. She assured Amy that the checks had been sent out months ago. Amy must have felt an icy sensation down her back. She was sure the farm was good enough. She knew that her name was on the papers for those years. She should have gotten the check if it was sent. Amy didn't attack the farm. She didn't call Matt and shout. She became brilliant. She went home and called the USDA's regional office. She worked her way through the automatic options until she spoke to a real person. She offered her social security number, the farm's tax ID, and inquired, was a check sent to Roloff Farms? The response she got confirmed her worst fears. The person tapped a few keys and confirmed that a check for $250,000 had been sent out 4 months earlier. The system not only showed that it had been issued, but it also showed that it had been cashed. Amy wanted to know who supported it. The salesperson couldn't see the signature on the screen, but they did say that the check was made out to Matthew and Amy Roloff. That was all she needed to know. She was sure she hadn't signed it. She was sure she hadn't seen a cent. There was just one reason. Someone had taken her money, stolen her identity, and forged her name. This was no longer a civil issue. This wasn't a fight over how to make pumpkin salsa. This was a fake instrument from the U.S. Treasury. Amy called her lawyers right away. But she didn't just get a divorce lawyer. She hired an expert in fraud and civil conversion. They made an official paper trail by sending a report to the Treasury Department's fraud section. After that, they sued Matthew Roloff and Caryn Chandler in a huge legal case for conversion, fraud, and unjust enrichment. When the papers were delivered to the farm, people apparently went into a frenzy. Matt and Caryn probably assumed this was over. They presumably thought Amy would never learn the truth. Now, they were being sued, and the whole plan was spelled out in black and white. Their first line of defense was feeble. Sources say they tried to say it was a mistake on the part of the government or that the money was being held in trust for the farm. But Amy's lawyer didn't believe it. They pushed for discovery right away. They got the bank records by court order. They wanted to see the deposit slip and a picture of the check that had been cashed. The pretrial sessions were very severe. Matt's lawyers tried to get the case thrown out by saying that it should be heard in family court, not a fraud trial. The judge didn't agree. The proof that a government document was faked made this more than just a family fight. The matter went to trial, and this is where the story really takes off. Picture the courtroom. The tension is so high that you could cut it with a knife. On one side, Amy stood with a serious look on her face, surrounded by angry lawyers. On the other hand, Matt looked scared, and Caryn, who generally runs the room, appeared pale and worried. There are a lot of people in the gallery. A large picture of the back of the check that everyone can see on a monitor is the most important piece of proof. There is Matt's signature, which is flashy and easy to see. Below it is a shaky, weird writing that claims to be Amy's name. The trial starts with Amy's testimony. She tells the court what happened during the phone discussion with the USDA. She swears, plainly and firmly, that she never saw that check, never gave permission for it to be deposited, and never signed it. Her testimony is strong because it is clear she was robbed. But things really heat up when Amy's lawyer calls the defendant's witnesses. They didn't simply go after Matt. They also went after the people who helped him. The bank manager is the main character in the scene that insiders are talking about. This is when the case went from being a disagreement to a proven crime. Amy's lawyer calls Mr. Davis, the manager of the bank branch where the crime happened. Mr. Davis seems uneasy as he takes the stand. He is sworn in. He is wearing a suit that appears a touch too tight and is sweating in the courtroom lights. Amy's lawyer comes up to him like a shark that smells blood in the ocean. He begins with the basics. He proves that Mr. Davis was the manager and was working that day. Then he shows the check. Mr. Davis, you are the manager of the bank that cashed this $250,000 treasury check, right? The lawyer asks. The manager clears his throat and says, yes, I am. The lawyer keeps on, asking for more information. Who gave this check to be deposited? The manager pauses for a moment before saying, Ms. Caryn Chandler. I know her, she's a customer. There are whispers in the courtroom. This gives Caryn the check right away. The lawyer keeps going. The check needed 2 people to sign it. Did you see Ms. Amy Roloff sign it? The manager stares at his hands. No, he says. Ms. Chandler brought it in already signed. She was putting it into a new company account. Mr. Roloff signed all the papers she needed to open the account. The lawyer leaves that hanging in the air. The carelessness is shocking. He gives the final blow. So, just to be clear, you took a government check for $250,000 with a signature that might have been forged without checking to see who the second signer was. The manager can't defend himself. He stutters, but the harm is done. The bank broke the rules because of who the consumers were. They made the deception possible. But Amy's group still has work to do. They have to show beyond a shadow of a doubt that the signature is not real. They summon their next witness, a forensic document examiner, who has worked with the FBI for decades as a handwriting expert. This specialist gets on the stand and sets up a projector. He shows a comparison next to each other. 10 real samples of Amy's signature from deeds, checks, and contracts are on the left. The signature on the stolen check is on the right. The expert shows the pen's pressure points. He explains about how the letters lean, how far apart they are, and how they are in roll-off loops. He says that Amy's signature flows naturally because she has been doing it for 50 years. He says that the signature on the check seems like it was forged since it shakes. Someone was trying to emulate a style when they wrote it slowly, not when they wrote their own name. He says it is a clear and crude fake. He says in a scientific way that there is no chance that Amy Roloff signed that paper. The defense tries to cross-examine, but they are failing. They try to say that Amy might have signed it quickly or on the dashboard of a car, but the expert tells them to stop. The way the writing works is very different. It's not real. And then, the last nail in the coffin. The bank knows they are now responsible for a lot of money for cashing a fake check, so they decide to completely cooperate to save their own skin. They give you the security camera footage from the day of the deposit. The screens in the courtroom come to life. The blurry black and white video shows the bank's lobby. The timestamp is clear. We can see Caryn Chandler walking in. She is by herself. She has the envelope in her hand. She goes up to the window where the teller is. We see her talking and laughing. We see her move the check over the counter. We watch the teller do it. We see Caryn leave. Amy is not in the picture. There is no sign of Matt in the frame. Caryn is the one who was caught on tape doing the last part of the theft. The pictures show that the defense's excuses don't hold up. It shows that she was the only one who had the fake instrument. The concluding arguments are rather harsh. Amy's lawyer portrays an image of avarice and entitlement. He says that Matt and Caryn thought they were above the law and that Amy was just a bother that they could ignore instead of a partner to be respected. He requests the judge for full compensation and punitive damages to punish this behavior. The judge doesn't require a lot of time to think. When the evidence is this strong in a civil bench trial of this size, the decision usually comes quickly. The judge looks at the people who are being sued. Matt is looking at the table. Caryn is staring at the ground. The judge starts to talk, and everyone in the room stops. The judge said that faking a U.S. Treasury check is a federal crime that hurts the integrity of the financial system. He says the proof is undeniable. He talks about the bank manager's testimony and the video. He says that Ms. Amy Roloff, the plaintiff, wins. The decision is clear and really bad. The judge tells Mr. Roloff and Ms. Chandler, the defendants, to pay Ms. Roloff her 50% portion of the subsidy, which is $125,000 right away. But he doesn't stop there. He talks about the badness of it. He points out the deliberate lie. The judge gives the same amount in punitive damages, which is additional $125,000 because of the dishonest behavior. Matt and Caryn have to pay a total of $250,000. They took the check, and now they have to pay Amy back the whole amount of the check. The judge gives one last warning that shocks everyone in the room. He says, "This court will let the U.S. Attorney's Office know about these results." This changes the issue from civil to criminal. The judge is basically sending Caryn to jail for bank fraud and forgery. After the verdict, things are in disarray. Amy leaves the courthouse with her head held high, feeling like she has won. She has told the truth and protected her financial rights. But for Matt and Caryn, the nightmare is just getting started. They owe $250,000 right away. If they don't pay, their assets could be frozen. And Caryn is worried about the possibility of federal charges. The reports say that the U.S. attorney is already looking over the bank manager's testimony. This story shows how bad things have gotten in the Roloff Farms feud. It's not just about who gets the big house or who runs the pumpkin patch anymore. It has to do with crimes, fraud, and ruining people's reputations. Amy Roloff stood up to the machine and beat it. She showed that you can't just sign someone's name and grin to take away their rights. We have to question what this means for the future of the show as we wait for the next part of the drama, which is the possible criminal prosecution of Caryn Chandler. Can TLC keep hiring someone who is being looked into by the federal government for stealing from a cast member? Will Matt betray Caryn to save himself? According to the insider theories, the problems in their relationship are already starting to manifest. This lawsuit could finally be the thing that tears them apart. We will keep an eye on every file, rumor, and leak that comes out of the Oregon courts. This story isn't over yet. The money has been given out, but the justice system is just getting started. Keep an eye out for the next update because it might have mugshots in it. This is the real life behind the reality program, and it's worse than anyone thought. You are very incorrect if you assumed the civil verdict was the end of the story. The judge's decision was the first domino to fall in a chain reaction that might now burn Roloff Farms to the ground. We're back with an emergency deep dive into the consequences from the stolen subsidy controversy. The fresh information coming out of Oregon is nothing short of disastrous for Matt Roloff and Caryn Chandler. The civil trial cost them money, but what is going on today could cost them their freedom. Sources close to the production crew have told us that the mood on the farm has gone from panic to full-blown war. The couple's world came crashing down when the judge ordered them to pay Amy Roloff $250,000 right away. But here's the twist that no one anticipated coming. We are getting unique information about a huge fight between Matt and Caryn in the courthouse parking lot just after the decision was read. Witnesses say that the meticulously planned picture of the happy couple fell apart. People who could read lips and people who were there said that Matt was heard scolding Caryn for how sloppy the forgery was. The story that is coming together makes it seem like Matt is already looking for a way out. He is still alive. He has been through health concerns, a divorce, and a company crisis. He seems to have made up his mind that he won't make it through a federal prison sentence for Caryn Chandler. The alliance has come to an end. Let's speak about the money because it wasn't easy to move that $250,000. We realize that Matt's cash flow isn't as good as it looks on TV. Insiders say that in order to pay Amy the verdict and the punitive damages within the time frame set by the court, Matt had to sell off big machinery and use money from his emergency farm reserves. A family member said that watching the money leave Matt's account and go straight to Amy, the woman he threw off the farm, was the most embarrassing thing that had ever happened to him. Amy didn't just take the money and smile, though. She is said to have sent a forensic accountant to check if the money came from genuine sources, which made things worse. But the money problems are nothing compared to the legal tempest that hit 2 days later. Don't forget that the judge said he will tell the U.S. Attorney's Office. That threat was not just for show. We heard that federal authorities went to Roloff Farms earlier this week. This wasn't a friendly visit. This was an interview for an investigation. The FBI looks into theft of government property and fraud at banks. When a federal judge gives them a case on a silver platter with sworn testimony and video proof, they act quickly. Legal experts who are following this case think that the feds are trying to make a bargain. They don't generally go after two persons if they can get one to turn on the other. The question is, who speaks first? Does Caryn tell Matt that he told her to sign the check? Or does Matt say that Caryn acted completely alone to pad the account and toss her to the wolves? Our sources say that Matt has already hired a different criminal lawyer from the one who is defending Caryn. That is the smoking gun of a breakup in the legal realm. It signifies that their goals are no longer the same. Matt is getting ready to testify against her in order to save the property. Now let's switch to the network. It seems that TLC is in full-on crisis mode. They have dealt with problems previously, such divorces, fights, and molestation scandals with other families. But active federal bank fraud happening while the show is being filmed is a nightmare. It is said that executives are rushing to watch the footage from that season. They are afraid that their cameras might have accidentally recorded audio or video of the plot. If TLC footage shows Matt and Caryn talking about the check or the new account, the network could be forced to give it up. They could be called as witnesses in the federal probe. There are speculations that the highest echelons of Discovery and TLC production will have an emergency Zoom conference. What is the subject? The morality clause in the Roloff contracts. Every reality star signs a contract that says they can be dismissed right away without pay if they do something that makes the network seem bad or is against the law. We heard that the network is creating a backup plan to film the following season without Caryn. If an indictment comes down, they are getting ready to cut her out of the story completely. Think about what the show would be like without Caryn. Picture Matt Roloff alone in the huge home with the cameras on him while his girlfriend sits in a defendant's chair in federal court. We are getting closer and closer to the end of the season, but the damage also affects the kids. The Roloff kids, especially Zach and Tori, have reacted quickly and harshly. They haven't spoken to Matt in a long time because of the land deal, but this fraud incident has confirmed everything they ever thought about Caryn. People say that Zach sent his father a quick and final text message. The main point of the message was that neither of them would ever see the grandchildren again as long as Caryn remained in his life. They are painting a clear line. They think that stealing Amy's money is an attack on the family's legacy. Being a tough negotiator is one thing, but stealing from the mother of your children is another. This has entirely cut Matt off from everyone. He is stuck in the enormous house with a woman he is legally fighting with. His kids won't talk to him, and the federal government is looking into his life. And it gets even worse. Let's look into an idea that is becoming more popular about the secret ledger. During the discovery phase of the civil trial, when Amy's lawyers were looking for the subsidy money, they say they found strange transactions in the farm's operational account. These were minor withdrawals, money sent to LLCs, whose names were not recognized, and expenses that were labeled as consultancy fees. The idea is that the stolen subsidy check was only the beginning. People are guessing that Caryn, who had free access to the books, may have been stealing money from the farm for years. If the FBI forensic accountants look into this, they might not only identify a stolen check, but perhaps a pattern of embezzlement. If this is accurate, Matt isn't simply a co-conspirator. He is also a victim who was too in love to understand that he was being robbed. This would explain why he suddenly wants to keep his legal defense distinct from hers. We also need to talk about the wire theory. This is the most shocking rumor of the week. There are rumors that Amy may have legally recorded a phone call with Matt during the confrontation phase before the lawsuit was filed. Oregon is a one-party consent state for electronic recording. This means that Amy didn't have to notify Matt she was recording as long as she knew she was. Some people think that Matt tried to say sorry in this taped call. He attempted to make things better. In doing so, he may have revealed that he knew about the fake. He might have stated something like, "We were going to pay you back. We were just going to use the money for the barn." If this recording exists and the U.S. attorney has it, Matt's case that Caryn did everything falls apart. He is now an accomplice or co-conspirator. The pressure is getting higher. We found out that Caryn hasn't been to the property in 3 days. Her automobile isn't in the driveway. A lot of people are guessing that she has gone back to her parents' house or another property to get away from the media circus and maybe even Matt. The stillness from her side is terrible. When reality stars are accused of something, they usually make a comment. They put up a strange quotation on Instagram about those who hate and the truth. But Caryn is no longer around. That's what individuals do when their lawyers advise them to stay quiet because they're about to be arrested. And what about Amy? At the moment, she is the most powerful person in this situation. With the money from the verdict in hand, she has completely cut herself off from the farm's dangerous financial web. But insiders claim she isn't happy. She is quite sad. She is seeing the man who is the father of her children go down in flames. But she has informed pals that she will not get involved to stop the FBI inquiry. She believes in being responsible. She gave them a chance to make things right before the lawsuit, but they lied to her face. Now, she is letting things happen as they will. The following 2 days are really important. We are keeping a close eye on the Oregon federal court docket. We are waiting for the indictment to be filed. We think the accusations will be 18 U.S.C. Section 510, which is for breaking the law by faking endorsements on Treasury checks, and 18 U.S.C. Section 1344, which is for bank fraud. They can get you up to 30 years in prison for these. This isn't a reality TV show. This is time in a federal prison. If there is an indictment, the arraignment will be open to the public. We shall watch Matt and Caryn walk into a federal building, probably in handcuffs, to make a plea. That picture will be the last one we see of the little people, big world that we know. There is one last report that could change everything. A source close to the farm personnel said that Matt has been meeting with a real estate agent late at night. Not just any real estate agent, but one who specializes in selling off commercial farms. The idea is that Matt knows that the legal fees and possible fines will make him go broke. He might be getting ready to do the unthinkable and sell all of Roloff Farms. Not a piece, not the big mansion, but the whole thing. He might be cashing out to pay for his defense and get out of the country. The legacy is gone if he sells the farm. The show is over, and it will all be because of a check that was stolen. We are witnessing the Greek tragedy of the Roloff family: hubris, greed, and betrayal. As we wait for the FBI's next move, ask yourself, was it worth it? Was $250,000 worth destroying a 30-year legacy? We will be live streaming the moment any charges are filed. Do not touch that dial. Make sure you are subscribed because the next notification you get from us might be the breaking news of an arrest. The walls are closing in on Roloff Farms, and the truth is finally coming out. More update. LPBW: Matt Roloff blatantly disrespected, calls Amy lazy. Amy Roloff cuts Chris Marek from her name? And shocking reason behind Matt Roloff and Caryn Chandler breakup. Amy Roloff admits pain of Matt and Caryn relationship. I will explain everything. Recently, those who watched Little Those Big World talked about a time when Matt Roloff was blatantly mistreated. Matt might not have a lot of fans because a lot of people assume he has troubles in his life. But in this situation, it seems like a lot of people agree that he was handled badly. How did this turn out? And what did the people who responded think? The long-running TLC show actually ended after season 25, as fans who have been following along have seen. A lot of people thought this was true, especially when Tori and Zach Roloff officially left the program. Fans of Little People, Big World, on the other hand, still follow the many branches of the Roloff family on social media. A lot of people agree that the show was over and it was time to stop, even though they know this isn't the same as watching whole episodes. Now that Little People, Big World isn't on the air anymore, some fans go back and watch old episodes to discuss about them and think about them. A recent fan conversation shared an old video of Matt and Amy Roloff arguing after Amy's car spilled oil all over the driveway. When Matt Roloff confronts Amy Roloff, she instantly gets defensive and hits him. He says that there is oil all over the driveway, and Amy says, "I did it on purpose to make you mad." Fans of Little People, Big World have frequently said that Amy and Matt have always been like oil and water, always arguing. This event is one of the best illustrations of this. Fans of Little People, Big World have a love/hate connection with Matt Roloff that has lasted for a long time. In this scenario, it's not often that so many people agree with him and what he said. As is usual, there were just as many people who said bad things about Matt for going too far. "Matt is being completely reasonable," said one commenter. "When you play it again, the hatred between these two is clear." Another commenter said that their house was always a mess in the first several seasons. "I always thought she was slow, and that Matt started 100 projects at once but seldom finished any of them." A third poster says he's driving around on a golf cart and calling other people lazy. What do you think of Amy Roloff's and Matt Roloff's reactions in this flashback scene? Please tell us in the space below. Amy Roloff cuts Chris Marek from her name. Amy Roloff owns a business called Little Kitchen. She and her husband Chris Marek used to eat together a lot. But she just ended their marriage. What did you say? Some people are always looking for further proof that their marriage is in jeopardy. Some people who watch Little People, Big World may think that the TLC star is showing indications of frailty. People who follow Little People, Big World on social media may have seen the Little Kitchen pop up. Chris Marek often helps the TLC star in the kitchen. He also has a lot of food to eat. He shows up every now and then, although not very often, during live chats between the two women who run the business. Maybe he's really working out to get rid of all that food. Amy Roloff is quite active in the business sector. People recognize the author from her work on Little People, Big World, and other TLC shows. Matt and she are both partners in Our Pumpkin Products, Incorporated. People who go to the pumpkin season agricultural fair might be able to try some of her goods. Chris Marek was never referenced in the Little Kitchen business, though. The Sun claims they were able to access the public documents of the LPBW stars' filings. They were told that Amy, Matt's ex, added Marek to her last name when she filed an annual report for Amy Roloff Enterprises in early December. So, Amy J. Roloff Marek was her name. But by the end of the year, everything was different. At the conclusion of the year, the outlet looked into Amy Roloff's little kitchen records. But she didn't say Chris or Marek's name when she signed off on that one. He has appeared in her videos, but that hasn't made a difference. Amy used, in her work, Amy J. Roloff added Chris' last name to the papers after she and Chris Roloff got married. The news outlet wondered if this meant that the relationship between the two LPBW actors had gotten worse. It could even mean that things change with time. Marriage is a wonderful thing, but it also means having to get used to a new way of life. So there's always a medium ground. Keep in mind that Chris Marek runs his own real estate business. He might not think it's important to acquire her signature on her business papers. She has worked with the Roloff brand for a long time. Do you think it's odd that Chris Marek's last name wasn't in the Amy's Little Kitchen corporate report? Do you think it was a deliberate rejection? Could the fact that she took his name off of her own name be a clue that trouble was about to start in paradise? LPBW, shocking reason behind Matt Roloff and Caryn Chandler breakup. In July, everyone knew that Matt Roloff and Caryn Chandler had broken up. What happened next is a mystery to many fans. Recently, a trustworthy source has spoken up about the situation. People first saw Matt and his family on the TLC show Little People, Big World. People could witness how Matt, his ex-wife Amy, and their 4 kids lived on the show. Matt, Amy, and Zach are all short for their height. Matt and Amy got divorced in 2016. They got married for the first time in 1987. After that, Matt started dating Caryn Chandler, who was the manager's daughter. In July 2025, though, people found out that Matt and Caryn's relationship was over. Fans were left wondering what had happened after they announced their engagement. An insider recently told the U.S. Sun the story. The informant adds that their relationship may have ended because they couldn't agree on their Oregon house. The insider said, Caryn ended it because Matt didn't listen to what she had to say about some things. They remarked, she didn't want to make decisions, but she wanted her opinion to be taken into account. And it never was. One thing they couldn't agree on was where to live. After it was done, Matt just complained about it, and at first Caryn didn't think they needed it. The informant said that Caryn didn't feel respected enough to stay and found him hard to be with at times. But the insider also stated that there were other worries, like she is also getting older and wants to live a life without drama. A lot of trouble is going on with Matt and his family. In the end, it got too much. The source also said that the split wasn't a spur-of-the-moment decision. People reported that Caryn tried many times to sit down with Matt and tell him what she thought he should do better. No one could name one item that changed everything. There was no change in their relationship, and she had been patient for a long time. The source also said that the breakup had happened before the news went public. They broke up in person, and they really did it about a month before Matt's Facebook post, they said. For months, Matt had been working on building the couple's home on the Oregon family farm. The project was finished before the split, and the rumored cost of building was $1,461,520. Amy Roloff admits pain of Matt and Caryn relationship. Amy Roloff, a star of Little People, Big World, is happy to be with Chris Marek, while Matt Roloff is still hurting. This is especially true now that Matt and Caryn Chandler have made their engagement public. So what does Amy really think about this? Amy and Matt Roloff will always get on each other's nerves. People who watch Little People, Big World have seen this happen recently as they try to put together a fundraiser. Even though Amy and Matt have moved on with other people, they still don't get along. People say that having too many cooks in the kitchen is a terrible idea. Amy and Matt are always bickering over who gets to do what. It's easy to forget that they were ever together because their relationship can get so passionate. It's tough to completely get rid of someone after 28 years of marriage, having 4 kids together, and building a life with them. Amy and Chris come to Roloff Farms every once in a while to spend time with Matt and Caryn Chandler. Amy Roloff still has Matt Roloff's last name, and their kids and grandkids will always be related to each other. Amy Roloff has even said in recent episodes of Little People, Big World that things are still kind of awkward between her and her ex-husband. Amy went on to clarify that she doesn't need to know anything private about Matt and Caryn's relationship or engagement. She said that holding on to any drama was not necessary. There was a lot of drama in previous episodes of Little People Big World because Amy's engagement ring was smaller than Caryn Chandler's. She tried her best to ignore it, but it was evident that it bothered her a little. Amy Roloff is honest when she declares that she will always remember Matt Roloff, no matter what happens. Amy said, "It will keep affecting me until the day I die." She says you do the best you can. Amy also said she was sorry for Matt's choice to rent out his family's house at Roloff Farms. They raised their kids in this house. In her opinion, a family should live there, not people who are just passing through. No more today. What are you thinking about this gossip today? Let us know in the comments, and stay tuned by subscribing to our channel to get more updates like this. Thank you.